Healing stress. So, if we feel stress, we must comprehend that stress is a choice. And through basic principles, we can learn to choose not to stress. Now, first of all, we must understand what stress does to our perception. We must look at it as, well, our perception to start is that perception is experience of which we can create. And through stress, what we effectively are doing is choosing to limit perception or give up on perception when we feel the pressure is too overwhelming. Now, if we get stuck in a bubble of stress, what we choose to do is confine ourselves to the potential of that experience which we can't see or raise above. So if something is stressful in our lives within this present moment, we may feel attached to it and we may feel confined to it. Now, something which will relieve this attachment is identifying first that we're choosing to attach to this existence. So within ourselves, if we are feeling stress in this moment, we must understand that the choice is ours. We're actually choosing to stress. As long as we point fingers and identify that the stress is coming from an outside source, we will choose to continue to attach to that existence. See, what we must understand is that we're choosing to attach to that existence. And if we don't take responsibility for this attachment, we will only keep confining ourselves to this existence of stress or perception. So, with that said, we must identify that the choice is ours. And if something is stressful for us, then we must understand it's our choice to either continue to try and manifest and raise above the existence of which is stressing us, or we can simply choose not to stress about it anymore. Now, also with that said, what we must understand is that worry is linked to the stress. So it's all linked together, and so's fear. Fear is also linked to the worry, and ultimately that is what is causing the stress. So it's a stepping stone. Now, everyone is a unique individual, and how we first eliminate the stress is the choice within ourselves. We must be conscious that fear and worry is really tied within the three. So we must be conscious that we truthfully want to eliminate fear and worry. And if we can't eliminate or be on the journey to eliminate fear and worry, we will find that stress will always come back into our lives. So it's important to be conscious about fear and worry, and also be understanding if there's fear in my life, if there's worry in my life, then there's room for stress to breed. Once we can identify where the stress is coming from, it's very evident of where the fears are in our lives and where the worry is within our lives. And once we can highlight the fear and the worry, we can start to identify where the stress is coming from. So it's a stepping stone. First, we must jump on the stone of stress, and we must understand, okay, if I'm truthfully going to stop to stress, because we are the power of our potential, and if we see that we don't want to choose to stress, it's a choice. We have the power. Every single unique expression of life with life force has the power to choose not to stress, and it's as simple as that. That's how powerful our potential can be, is to just not resonate with stress. It's very simply said, and it's very simply done. That's the power of choice. Yet we need to be very aware that it's a stepping stone. Once we jump on the stone of stress, we then have we can very closely jump on the stone of fear and worry. And once we jump on that stone and we can become conscious and aware of what is making us worry and what's making us fear, we become interconnected with that existence, which is effectively using us to create the byproduct of negativity. Because we also must be aware that the negativity so when we are aligning ourselves with fear, stress and worry, we're ultimately elevating or resonating with a vibration of negativity. When we're in a positive vibration, when we're in a positive auric existence, when we're resonating in a higher vibration, we aren't resonating with fear, stress and worry. We're resonating with happiness and joy and presence. So once we jump on the stone of fear and worry, we can understand that this is where it's all coming from. This is where the stress is coming from, whether that's the fear of losing our jobs because we don't know whether or not, or we have self-doubt, and then the stress is coming from it can be coming from, everyone's a unique individual, and stress can be coming from anything and everything. Everything is possible to create stress. But we must understand that the link between the worry and the fear, the worry of not achieving something, the fear of the result if we don't achieve it, then the stress is bred. So it's all interconnected. When we can identify the stress, we can then move forward and ask the questions of where's the fear coming from? Where's the worry coming from? And once we start to ask these questions, we can become present within the moment and ask ourselves, what is it worth? If we're leading or moving forward into a life which is confined by the stress or confined by the fear, and we're choosing to believe that it's going to end, the end comes from when we choose to express the presence of truth within us, which is acceptance. And if we can't accept something in our lives, or if we're attempting to shelter from an existence which will continue to feed off of us, and when I refer to feed off of us, I refer to within the present moment when we are infinitely present or infinitely active within awareness, we shift into a higher vibrating awareness, which has the potential to choose presence and choose higher vibrating forces such as love and devotion to experiencing a higher awareness. And when we're not in that state of consciousness or awareness, we are effectively being used to possess an energy which is unlike our true potential. And that energy can come across as whatever you want to call it, like toxic, negativity, jealousy, hatred, anger, frustration, and all these lower densities of energy is effectively consciousness that is limited to elevating above the elevating into a higher level of awareness. So, and the truth being is that we have access, each and every single soul has access to achieving that higher level of consciousness. And the stress and the fear and the worry is only limitation, or is only holding us from achieving that level of awareness which we all have the capability to connect and align with. So it's just very important to become aware that the stress in our lives is actually a pathway to overcoming the fear and the worry in our lives. And when we can start to identify stress, we can start to understand that it's actually not negative. Although we may feel the density of existence which we may be experiencing and living, but we must understand that we as choice have the potential to see this as a form of guidance and a form of a moment in time where we can learn to identify the stress move forward into becoming aware of the deep fears and the deep worry in our lives. And once we start to begin to accept the fear and accept the worry and start to become aligned within accepting these truths, and by accepting, when I say accepting, I mean becoming aware of what are we truthfully worrying about? What are we truthfully becoming, are we fearing? Within the present moment, we understand anything is really possible. And when we're outside of the present moment, we start to limit ourselves to the infinitely possible, and we start to create the bubbles of existence, which we then create the fear and create the worry, and we feel limited to achieving that infinite potential. So we must ask ourselves, are we living in a bubble of fear and stress and worry? Or are we learning to detach from that bubble, detach from all the expectations in our lives, detach from all the programmed expectations? We're very programmed to expect to succeed in something. And we must ask ourselves, where did this programming come from? If we want to succeed in something, it's not to say that we can't. We just must ask ourselves, is it true? Or did it lead from a desire? And is that desire actually trying to manipulate me from achieving the infinite present or the infinite happiness? And it's trying to manipulate me to create this bubble of stress, fear, and worry, where it wants to contain myself or to contain my potential, to create this negativity or this anger within me, which then feeds off my potential. So some very important questions to ask. And the biggest question is am I happy? Because if you're happy within this present moment, then life is bliss, and no one can ever take that away from you. But if you're not happy, we really must come back to understanding, why am I not happy, and what is it that's not making me happy? And once we can identify that, we can really move forward and ask some deeper questions and start the process of eliminating the attachment to whatever is not making us happy in this lifetime. And that is the power of our potential. And through basic principles and through basic work, we can all eliminate the attachment to the expectations in our lives, and not only expectations, but also attachment to everything which is not serving us within the present moment.